Okay, so I'm going to give you guys notes a little different way this time since I can't be there, and we're gonna watch this video. And this is going to be on electricity. You read one section on it, and I'm going to kind of give you an introduction about what electricity is and how it forms. One of the main things that's important to understand with electricity is that it forms from electric charge. So let me put that up here. Electric charge. And this electric charge comes from matter. And all of you should remember that matter is anything that has mass and takes up some space. Let's add that. And that the main part of matter, or the basic part that makes up all matter, is the atom. Now, atoms can be charged. And that's where we come back to this thing of electric charge. So atoms can be charged. They can be positive or negative, and they can have various charges like +1, -1, and so on. Okay, but it's the fact that some atoms are charged that produces the electricity that we know. And a lot of this is really based on the electron. And if you remember, the electron is negatively charged. And a lot of times what happens is these electrons collect in certain places, and then they produce electricity, like you think of lightning and clouds and stuff like that, that produces a great amount of electricity. And if you're walking across a carpet and you drag your feet, like everybody loves to do in middle school, and they touch somebody, then they give them a shock. They kind of transfer their electrons to somebody else. And this is all kind of, these electrons and movement and such, is based on the idea of having a whole bunch of electrons in one place and not very many in the other. And in nature, things, or matter, whether it's a living thing or whatever, they like this condition of equilibrium, where all things are equal. And what that means is, like when you have a whole bunch of electrons in one spot and you don't have any somewhere else, they tend to move to the place where there's not any and make it equal. That's kind of like what happens in a cloud. You get this electrical charge that builds up in the cloud, and then it'll then travel to a place, maybe even on the ground, where there's not very much electric charge, and it strikes the lightning strikes. And if you're a person standing down here, you might get struck too, because maybe you don't have nearly as many electrons as the cloud does, so it strikes you or it strikes other things to try to make a condition of equilibrium. And the same thing on the carpeting. You're dragging your feet in a certain type of material. The carpet's made up of, your shoes are made of the right material. You collect electrons, and then you can then pass those electrons on to somebody that doesn't have as much. And there's some laws that kind of go along with this, that kind of explain this. The law of charges. And that says a couple things. Likes repel. So if you have positives and positives, they try to get away from each other. Or if you have two negatives, they get away from each other. And they don't want to be anywhere near each other. And even if you've taken a magnet, two norths, they don't want to go together. There's like a force field that actually exists there that won't maybe sometimes it can't stop you from putting them there because they're not that strong, but the really strong ones you can't. But they really don't want to be together. They want to repel each other or get away from each other. But also, unlikes are attracted to each other. So positive and negative, they're kind of attracted to each other. And that's kind of probably where they got the idea of, when you find a boyfriend or girlfriend, that opposites attract, because it's a law that's seen in nature. And then people have taken that law and, applied it to their daily life. And you'll see, like, what can happen with electrical charge is it can also form a force. Like if you've ever taken a balloon and you rub it on your head, you can actually cause the hair to move, like, and be attracted to the balloon. And some of it has to do with, the difference in charges. When you've collected all the charges on the balloon, your hair is attracted to it, but that's still a force. It's making something move, and electrons and electricity, this difference in charge, can cause a force to be formed and cause things to be moved. Now, some substances are really good conductors. Make this a little smaller here. And some aren't so good. So we're going to add a few terms here. There's something called conductors and insulators. Okay, conductors are substances that allow electrical charge to flow. And there's certain type of substances that are really good for that. One of them is metal. They make wires, electrical wires out of copper and some other types of metals. Okay? Depending on even silver and gold, they're really good conductors of electricity. And also, so that insulators is actually the opposite. These are substances that restrict the flow of electricity. Okay, like wood, rubber is a good one, and they won't allow electricity to flow. And that's why they have, you make a wire out of copper, and then they coat it with plastic or rubber. Then the electricity, the electrons that are passing through that can't get out. And so this is kind of the introduction to electricity. I encourage you to go back and look in your book and check out some of these things that maybe are giving you a little bit trouble understanding of the notes I just gave you. But electricity, to review here, is just based on the idea of there's some things that are charged and some things are oppositely charged. And through that law of charges, like things repel, unlike things attract, and you can use that idea to cause a force and cause things to move. And really, you think of electricity in your house, it's just taking those flow of electrons and making that force cause something like a motor in your refrigerator to turn. And they use transistors and a little bit different now than they used to. But all of these things are really just making some mechanical thing occur through the flow of electrons. So this is our introduction. We're going to learn about circuits and the main types of circuits there are, like parallel and series, and do a few labs on that. But hopefully, if you have any questions, let me know when I get back on Wednesday. We can talk some more about it. And that should be it. You guys have a good day.